Now, ANC Secretary-General Magashule is due back in the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court on charges of corruption and fraud. He is charged alongside 7 others in relation to the Free State asbestos project. eNCA's Thulasizwe Smelane is on the ground just outside of the Bloemfontein High Court. We're also joined by Pulelishwiti Jones, that's ETV News reporter, and also eNCA senior reporter, that is Pamantla Koke. Of course, gentlemen, good to have you once more. Now, Thulasizwe, let's just get some context here in terms of those 21 fraud charges, amongst other charges with which Ace Magashule and I understand others will be facing in court today.
All right, we'll get to that in just a moment, Dumelo. And the reason I deviate from your pointed question, and important one as well, is because I am joined by Carl Niehaus, who is the spokesperson for the Umkhonto weSizwe Military Veterans Association, but also doubles up from time to time as part of the so-called RET forces. And we'll be understanding over the hours, days, weeks and months, what exactly are these RET forces and how exactly do they fit in with the ANC. Without wasting any time, let me speak to Carl Niehaus. It's a busy time for you, Mr. Niehaus, is it not? I mean, you just came back from Nkandla, pledging your support there, and now you are here in the Free State in Bloemfontein to pledge your support for Ace Magashule. What can we expect today?
Well, let me first of all clarify that RET is not a separate faction or a grouping. It's the official economic policy program of the ANC. And MKMVA supports that program to the hilt. What we will see here today is once again that the Secretary-General of the African National Congress is being arraigned in front of court on so-called oversight charges, which we in Umkhonto weSizwe Military Veterans Association believe are trumped up and are for political purposes, and that he's being targeted for political purposes. You will see today that almost the whole national executive of Umkhonto weSizwe Military Veterans Association is here. Amongst the national office bearers of MKMVA are the President of MKMVA, Comrade Kebi Mapatsu, the Treasurer General, the Deputy President, and a considerable number of the national executive. We've done so deliberately because we believe we must show our support to Comrade Ace Magashule. We have to address the manner in which the legal system is being abused now for political purposes. We've seen it happening with President Zuma. We see it now happening with Comrade Ace Magashule. And we see it also happening with a number of other...
But the ANC is the governing party. If any abuse of state resources for political purposes is happening, it makes absolutely no sense for anyone else to be doing that. It has to be someone who, or a group of people who are in government and in the ANC. So who are these people?
Well, obviously we are concerned that the African National Congress, as the governing party, has to address this issue. I've been asked the same question that you've asked me many times. We are loyal members of the ANC. We want to address this issue head on within the African National Congress because Umkhonto weSizwe Military Veterans Association is dedicated to bring unity within the ANC.
But are you dedicated to bringing unity within the ANC when you contradict the ANC on so many fronts? For instance, what's your position on this issue of the guidelines that have now been clarified around this policy of leaders accused of corruption having to step aside? And we know that that recommendation has already been made by the Integrity Commission of the ANC against the Secretary-General of the ANC. Why should he not be a disciplined cadre of the ANC, like former President Jacob Zuma did, that once he was charged in the rape matter, he stepped aside? Why should that not apply to Ace Magashule?
Well, your question shouldn't be an editorializing situation. Just ask me the question. But let me answer both questions. First of all, we are for unity. But we are for unity on the matter of principle. Principle for the implementation of the ANC's economic policy program. Principle that when we deal with the issue of corruption, that it will not be dealt with in a piecemeal fashion, and certain people being targeted and others not. You ask me about the issue of stepping aside. You know very well that the African National Congress's National Executive referred this matter now further to the structures of the ANC and specifically the branches. From the side of Umkhonto we Sizwe Military Veterans Association, we say that no one should be forced to step aside in contradiction to the constitution of this country, which says every citizen has the right to be deemed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Comrade Ace Magashule has simply been charged. He's not been proven guilty in a court of law, and therefore we as MKMVA, as members of the ANC, will now take this issue as it has been directed by the NEC to the branches. Our members will go and argue and carry out the message that Comrade Ace Magashule should not be forced to step aside, and that to expect that from him is in fact unconstitutional.
I've got to thank you, Carl Niehaus. Do you have your credentials sorted out this time around? You're not going to be manhandled like we saw the last time?
I was sorted out and I had my credentials last time. The police were acting wrongly.
All right.
We will see if I get into court today. We will comply with COVID-19. If there's not enough space in court, some of us as the leadership will stay outside.
All right.
We will do it in a disciplined way.
I've got to thank you. That's Carl Niehaus there, Dumelo. Just giving us the political context of what it is that brings them here as members and supporters of the ANC, and also supporters of the ANC Secretary-General, Ace Magashule, and those that call themselves RET Forces and Umkhonto we Sizwe Military Veterans Association. Let's check in with with eNCA's Siphamandla Goke, who's been tracking the arrival of groups of supporters. Siphamandla, I'm starting to hear a small crowd from my side making its way to the street that is in front of court. What are you seeing from your end?
Well, they are leaving from the Rose Gardens here in Bloemfontein to Sizwe Simelane, coming to where you are. It's a very short distance. This is where they are gathering, and then they make their way. Others are being ferried by buses. Others are deciding to walk because they say they won't be able to gather here for long. They expect court proceedings to be very brief, so they say they'd rather make their way towards the outside of the court building. That's where we expect that Ace Magashule will address them after appearing in court. I've just spotted another bus that has just arrived to Sizwe from Mpumalanga. I'm going to ask my colleague Joe Komane to come with us and see if we can just get a comment from those who are disembarking from this bus. It's one of those that are arriving from various parts of South Africa. So you have people from Limpopo, the Northwest KwaZulu-Natal, the Eastern Cape and Gauteng, basically coming here to support Ace Magashule. As you can see, some of them here, the RET forces are coming out in numbers here to support Magashule. There are taxis and buses, and some of those are disembarking from this bus. I was going to interview you, but you are not wearing your mask, so it's fine. Which province are you from? Which province are you from? Mpumalanga.
Yes, we are coming from Mpumalanga.
Why are you here?
We are here to support Comrade Ace. Yes, we are here to support Comrade Ace. Comrade Ace is us and we are Comrade Ace.
But he is facing serious charges. Your critics are saying you are supporting corruption. He is innocent until proven otherwise. Why do you keep on supporting him?
Because we are him and he is us.
Okay. Okay. Well, basically, those are some of the people coming from the Mpumalanga province here. Those are some of the buses. Let me take it to you, Pulele Chwitiba.
Well, what we know, witnessed is that we bumped into some of the ANC supporters who are actually for the Secretary-General, Ace Magashule, pledging their allegiance ahead of the court proceedings. They're saying that their leader and other co-accused who were facing criminal charges over the 255 million rand asbestos fraud and corruption scandal are being politically motivated. In fact, they go to a point of saying that, the judiciary system is, of course, controlled controlled in a manner of trying to have them held accountable for no reason. However, when we listen to the other side of the ANC members in this province, who of course have made sure and reaffirmed their calling that they will not be outside the court today, they are of the view that it's high time that those who've been implicated in terms of corruption and, of course, fraudulent scandals in this province since 2009 be held accountable. They want the rampant corruption that's been taking place in this province to be dealt with immediately. But, of course, Tulas, one other thing that they are of the view is that the ANC SG, Ace Magashule, and, of course, amongst the other co-accused, Olim Mhlamelu, who is a council and metro in also this province, and a former mayor, to step down. That's their call, and therefore they are saying they will not stop until their call has, of course, been adopted by the National Executive Committee of the ANC. In fact, they're saying the very same committee should put its money where its mouth is and start to implement some of these adopted guidelines and policies. They're of the view by this not happening, it may just hamper the progress of this province from moving forward in a way it's supposed to be.
Yes, as we see members of ANC Magashule here, they are making their way to court. Baba, unfortunately, we'll ask you to step aside. You are not wearing a mask. But these are members of ANC Magashule as they make their way inside this bus that brought them here. It's taking them to the court precinct where my colleagues Thulasizwe Simelane and Pulele Chwiti are. They are saying they are going there so that they will try and find space, and then they will be able to listen to him when he addresses them later on after appearing in court. We will be seeing more of this as compared to last time where they gathered here. Thulasizwe Simelane, pick it up, my brother.
All right, Sipamandla, so that's how it's looking on your side, and thank you to you too, Pule, from your side, setting out the backdrop. But let me take you quickly, Tumelo, in terms of what will happen inside court. We know that the Hawks arrested 3 more people in connection to this case, and there will be now 11, people that will actually be in court. Add to that number a number of entities, business entities that are linked by the prosecutors to a number of transactions in this asbestos project, which was found by the Auditor General to have been irregular, prompting all these investigations that have led to these arrests. It will be intriguing, I believe, because this is the first time you will see the full cast of the people who are accused of having been involved in these crimes, including that businessman Edwin Sodi, whose company scored that 260 million rand tender to replace asbestos roofing. And Ace Magashule, of course, is accused number 13 in the case. And there will be also a former head of department of the Department of Human Settlements, and they'll all be lining up. I do believe it will be a short appearance because I suspect the prosecutors will want to amend the indictment to add these 3 new people that have now been arrested, and also add facts that they believe link them directly with the commission of a crime. All right, for now, let's take it back to you, Tumelo.
All right. Well, thank you so much to you, Thulasizwe Simelane, Isipamandla Koke, and Pule Lishwiti Jones for that update. We'll be sure to keep up with you, of course.